What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 37 of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy.
And I'm your host, Conan.
And we are ready to go. First thing we want to say is Happy New Year. We hope everyone had a fantastic, safe holidays. We're in 2021, so we can no longer say the Dodgers won the World Series this year. Time to run it back, and let's do back-to-back in 2021. I'm excited to get this year started. 2020 was awful for the most part. We had a couple good things in the LA sports world, and outside of that, I'm not sure there's really much else to talk about. So let's get into 2021. Before we get started into today's episode, though, the very first thing that we do want to do is give our deepest condolences to Vin Scully and the Scully family after the passing of his wife, Sandra Scully. She had been battling ALS for several years and unfortunately passed away on Sunday. If you watched any Dodger games on TV, you knew she was Vin's biggest fan. We saw her always in the booth supporting him, especially towards the end of his career. And if you were at that final game at Dodger Stadium that Vin was at, he actually played his cover of the song Wind Beneath My Wings that he had recorded for Sandra. So it definitely feels like a loss within the Dodger family. It's one of those things that none of us have ever met her from the fan base side of things, but it still feels like a big loss. So just want to give our thoughts and prayers out to their family and of course Vin right now, and hope that everyone, especially him, has their support right now. And like the Dodgers said, just give the family privacy and your support right now, because that's really all they're asking for.
I was actually at the last game with my mom, and when he started singing that song, she started crying because she thought it was really cute. So yeah, it's a very sad day for the Dodgers family.
Yeah, someone actually tweeted, I forget the Twitter account that tweeted it yesterday, but they actually tweeted the video. And so I had watched it this morning, and I started crying like watching it, because it's sad. We all love Vin, and of course you love his family. So prayers out to them. On to our next thing, Tommy Lasorda update. Unfortunately, still not out of the hospital. Family is hoping he will return soon. So we'll probably keep giving you guys an update on that until we know something more every week until he's out. Let's hope it's very soon. They were hoping he would be out by Christmas. Obviously, still not out yet. This is still from when he went in about 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. Some people I saw when we posted on Instagram thought that this was a second trip. It is still the same initial trip that he went when he went to the hospital about 6 or 7 weeks ago. So please get well soon, Tommy. We need to see you out there. More rings, more weddings for the Dodger players. DJ Peters, congratulations to him and his wife Shay on their wedding over the weekend. I think that's what now, like 3 or 4. I know Smith, Peters, Seager. There's probably more that I'm just blanking on. A ton of them got engaged, they're getting married, so they're getting all their rings right now. As for what's going on a little bit in the MLB writer world, as we all know, at the beginning of 2021, they start coming out with power rankings, they start coming out with predictions. So MLB writer Anthony Castrovince came out with 9 bold predictions for the 2021 season. One of them being that the Braves will be the National League champions, and they will become National League champions because they beat the Padres in the NLCS, which means the Dodgers don't even make it to the NLCS in 2021. He predicts the Dodgers will win the NL West. So basically what I got from it is his bold prediction is the Padres will knock us out of the first round of the playoffs, go on, and then lose to the Braves in the NLCS. So I find that a little bit interesting, but it kind of transitions into the power rankings. MLB released their 2021 power rankings, and I will say it seemed like there were a lot of people were not happy with these rankings when they came out. The Dodgers are understandably number 1. At number 2, you've got the Padres. At number 3, the Yankees, the Braves at 4, Twins at 5, White Sox at 6, Athletics at 7, Mets at 8, Blue Jays at 9, Rays at 10. I thought this was a pretty crazy top 10. Did you think MLB was good with this, or did you kind of have some other thoughts on it as well?
I did have some thoughts on it. So when I first saw it, I was just like, okay. And then I took a little deeper look at it, and I was like, well, I think the Braves should be ahead of the Yankees. I don't see a way the Yankees are better than the Braves, especially because the Yankees, outside of Garrett Cole, what pitching do they have? And I know, like, if the Braves don't get Ozuna back, that's like a big hit, but they still have a lot of talent on that team. If they get Ozuna back, I think I still have the Braves ahead of the Padres, but that might be just me because I really like the Braves rotation. So that one was a little off to me, but also the White Sox should probably be better than the Twins. I don't know why the Twins are ahead of the White Sox. You probably take the Rays out of the top 10 after trading Snell and a reliever.
They got
so
Morton, and they let Morton walk.
And so. Morton went to the Braves as well. So I probably take the Rays out. What were the other ones?
They had the Mets. Like, to me, they had the Mets at 8.
The Mets are fine. I think that's actually going to be fine. If they sign a few people, I think
I just found it interesting, like, based on them not making any signings yet, that they were.
Maybe they're coming back.
Okay, so maybe that's why. Maybe they're also just they're assuming that they're going to get it. But no, I didn't think it was too bad. The Yankees one was the one that I found a little kind of laughable. I feel like we see this every year with the Yankees. Of course, we see it with the Dodgers too. I'm not going to pretend like ESPN doesn't, or MLB, ESPN, whoever does these power rankings doesn't always have the Dodgers at the top 2, along with the Yankees. I'm tired of seeing the Yankees up there when they just don't ever actually do much of anything when it really comes down to it. Like, we're always hearing about the Yankees going to be in the World Series with the Dodgers, yet they don't actually make it to the World Series. They always struggle in the playoffs. So I think they're given a little bit more credit than they deserve. I also think the Braves just don't get enough credit. I agree. I would probably have them as possibly the number 2 team, if not number 3 for sure.
Yeah, they're at worst 3.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think everyone is always going to argue with MLB. MLB does things their own way, and it's a little hard to agree with at times, but it's not the worst.
Also,
Dodgers are number 1.
Real fast for the playoff prediction things. I think it's entirely possible that the Dodgers are out early. I mean, they were out in 2019.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything can happen. Plus, we saw May and Gosselin completely struggle there. How does Urias look when he has to start? Does David Price pitch? Can Seager do what he did last playoffs? So, like, there are legit questions that need to be answered. So that doesn't feel like a bold prediction to me. Like, a bold prediction would have been the Mets are winning the National League pennant, not the Braves are going to the World Series and the Padres are going to go to the NLCS. That's not bold to me. That seems kind of like, okay, that could happen. Now, if you would have said the Mets are going to the NLCS versus the Padres or something, then I would have been like, okay, that's a bit bold. But this wasn't bold for me, so sorry.
No, I think it's not even so much the bold prediction part of it that got me. I think it's just the fact that we're going to be dealing with, like, now that the Dodgers have their championship, you're not going to hear MLB writers say, oh, well, can the Dodgers actually get it done this year? Is this the year they finally get it done? That's always been the narrative since these past couple of years, especially since 2017. Now, because the Dodgers have won, we're going to be dealing with this narrative nonstop that the Padres are going to knock the Dodgers off the top. Whether or not they're going to do it, we'll see, but that's what this narrative is going to be until it happens, or until the Dodgers just come out and blow the Padres out of the water and it stops being a discussion. And
bring
so,
all that shit.
That's
what if the Dodgers win, I'm not going to shut up.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Even just Twitter right now, between Dodgers and Padres Twitter, the last couple of years, it's been fun just because the Padres have been getting better, but it's like, also, they really had nothing to talk about except for like individual star performances. Like, that's what they had to brag about. And so now they actually are going to put a very good team out on the field. And what did you text me before, and you had this isn't even in our notes, but they're now apparently super aggressive going after Nelson Cruz or something like that. Yep. So they're still going for it. They're trying to do whatever they can to win. I think it's great. I think, like you said, as long as the Dodgers keep making moves, it's good for baseball. It's going to be a lot of fun in the NL West, and it's going to make things fun for us. I enjoy the walk through the park, but I also enjoy some good baseball and competitive baseball. So we shall see what happens there. As for some other MLB lists, they did get some of these right. They came out with the top 25 breakout players of 2020, and they did have Julio Urias on the list. He came in at number 7, so it was cool to see him there after such a strong, especially
and his number 7.
That too. It was cool to see him in there because, like, as he's come up in the big leagues, we kept hearing, like, here's this phenomenon. He's going to come out of the Dodger system. And he's never really got that chance because of injuries to go out there and just play. And he had that chance this year, and he had a fantastic October. And now, like, he's getting recognized by MLB. So it's cool. Great for him.
Yeah, I was like, so his season, because I was covering him all year, his weekly progress, but he was inconsistent throughout most of the season. But when he hit the playoffs, I don't know what happened. Something clicked, but he definitely broke out in a big way. Everything that went wrong during the regular season, he was doing right. So he found his stride. He found his swag. Like, you could tell in the bullpen, he was like ready to come in. He was gonna shut shit down, and he did that. It was really fun to watch. And also, I think fans forget he's been injured, but he's also still a year younger than Walker Buehler, which is crazy to me because he's been here a while. So, I mean, Julio, he's still got some things to prove, and hopefully next year he can start off well in the first inning, because after the first inning he usually pitched well. So if he can get the first inning blues under control, I think he's going to be a really good pitcher for the Dodgers.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy this year, I think he'll be solid. It's a bummer the way 2020 played out, because I think they had planned to like kind of let the reins loose. There wasn't going to be an inning restriction, any of that. And it kind of sucks because he didn't get that working on his arm. So hopefully they're kind of, I mean, as long as it's safe for him to do and he doesn't get hurt again, hopefully they're going to just do the same thing this year and let him go. And as long as he stays healthy, he might actually start to work out into that pitcher that we've all been he was that pitcher in October that we all kept hearing about for years and years. So hopefully
if he can pitch like that and Walker still does what he does, the Dodgers are winning game 1 and 2 no matter what.
Yeah, if he, and at the end of the day, like, if he could
translate, they have a good chance of winning game 1 and 2.
Translate. Well, it feels that way with those two on the mound sometimes. But if that translates into the regular season, Urias is going to be insane. However, if he does what he did in October over and over again, I'm fine with him putting up regular season numbers like he did all the time. That's fine. Another list that we saw a ton of Dodger plays, moments, whatever on was MLB Network's top 40. I did not expect to see this many. I know I watched it. I skimmed through it very quickly when it came out and I saw a few, but the Dodgers had quite a lot of top 40 moments of the 2020 segment that came out last week. So at number 33, they had Chris Taylor's throw home to throw out Trent Grisham to end the game. At 28, you had Mookie Betts throwing out Ketel Marte at third base from the right field corner. 22, you have Betts World Series Game 6 home run. Moment 21, Will Smith goes deep off of Will Smith in the NLCS. Then number 17, Betts robs Ozuna of extra bases with the leaping grab in the NLCS. Mookie again robs Freddie Freeman of a home run in the NLCS. Bellinger's home run came in at number 13, his NLCS home run. I did find this one. I brought, not that it's the Dodgers, but Kevin Cash removing Blake Snell from the game actually came in at moment number 8. So that's rough if you're the Rays or Kevin Cash or Blake Snell, that your number, that the moment that comes up, like number 8 is the moment that pretty much helped the Dodgers win the World Series. So I thought that was funny. Number 3 was Bellinger robs Tatis of a home run in the NLDS. And then of course, number 1 is the Dodgers winning the World Series. So shout out to MLB for actually putting a lot of the Dodgers stuff on there. Cause I feel like a lot of times our guys kind of get screwed when it comes to those lists and they don't make it as much as I feel like they should.
Yeah. So as far as the list goes, the number 1 was obviously the Dodgers winning, and Julio painting the inside corner at 97 was just a beautiful thing to watch. Bellinger's Game 7 home run in the NLCS really had me fired up. Like, I was saying the whole season, I didn't care if they lost, but after when Kike hit that home run, I was like, oh shit, okay. And then Bellinger hit the home run the next inning. I was completely like, all right, I'm all in now. I'm ready to be hurt again. Let's do this. Thankfully, they did not hurt me this time. And obviously, Betts' home run in the bottom of the 8th in the World Series it might seem insignificant to a lot of people, but that was the biggest moment in my lifetime, because like when he hit that home run, I had tears in my eyes as he was riding the bases, because I was like, oh shit, they're finally going to fucking win this thing.
No, that's how I felt with it too. Mookie's home run, it gave him an extra insurance run. It ended up making it 3-1 game. So it first took the stress out of you only need one hit, a home run, and the game's tied. But that for me, as soon as he hit that run, that's when my mind went to, we're doing it. We won. Like, this is going to be ours. As long as Julio does what he should do and was doing, then we were solid.
My
And I was
thought
feeling
was
great.
they're
So
going to win as long as Jansen doesn't come in. I was scared shitless that Jansen was going to
yeah,
come in.
everyone
And then I
thought
saw Julio,
Jansen.
and I was like, okay, we got this.
No, that was the one time that I was like, there's no way Roberts is doing this. There's no way Roberts is going to throw Jansen in there for like some sentimental moment so he can get the final out of the World Series. And when he didn't, like, I think the whole fan base rejoiced, and that's when everyone, it like really started to kick in. Every out, more and more tears started to build up. Man, what a year. I still get teared up watching it. It's never going to get old. But looking at 2021, the Dodgers are still showing strong interest in Liam Hendriks. Yesterday, MLB insider Robert Murray tweeted out that the Dodgers still paying very close attention to him. Also said that he visited the Blue Jays complex yesterday and is also garnering interest from the White Sox and plenty of other teams. So Hendricks is a big ticket item right now on the free agent market. Best relief pitcher out there. We do know he's commanding 4 years. Don't know if it happens. I'd like the Dodgers to go after him. We've already talked about him quite a bit. We're both on the same page there.
Like,
so
he's just flat out been the best reliever the last 2 years, and he would give the Dodgers like a legit shutdown closer, and it would finally push Jansen out of that role, which he doesn't need to be in that role anymore. So it's good to hear. I don't know if it happens because 4 years is quite a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I will say that if they sign Hendricks, I feel like that for sure puts a nail in Jansen's coffin when it comes to closing, because I don't think Hendricks signs unless the Dodgers say, yes, you're our closer. So I think that
I'm still of the mind that Jansen's going to get pushed out of that role anyway, because I think Knebel will take over that role if he's healthy. I still think that's going to happen.
They'll push him out. I think they're going to do it in a way that's going to piss off fans. I think they're going to give him the opportunity and they're going to let him blow it up. I just the way they have used him these last couple of years, there's obviously a respect thing there. So they're going to go, okay, dude, it's your last year on contract. If you think you've got it, go out there and show us. But I don't think the leash is going to be anywhere near as long as it has been in years past. I think if they don't sign Hendricks, they're going to maybe run with it. And then after a couple blown opportunities, they're just going to go, look, we've tried year after year. It's not working. And out he goes. And honestly, if that's what happens, I'm all for it. It would be great if Jansen found his old stuff, but I don't see that happening. So it is time to move on. And speaking of moving on, Dodgers and might have to do that with Justin Turner, because it was reported by the LA Times that he is looking for a 4-year deal. However, the Dodgers don't want to go longer than 2-year deals. We're not really going to go over this. You guys know our opinions on it. We both either don't think he should come back or definitely not more than for a year or two. So I asked this question on Dodger Yard on Twitter, asked fans what they thought, said Turner wanted a 4-year deal. Dodgers wanted 2. What do you guys think? There was over 250 responses, and a strong majority of them were all Dodger fans saying there's just no way. I can't justify giving a 36-year-old a 4-year contract. So I was surprised to see how many Dodger fans were on that side. However, I completely agree. So it was kind of nice to see the fan base agree on so
nothing
much.
This is nothing against Turner. I'm all for players getting for what they asked for. I just don't want him to get it with the Dodgers. I do hope you get it elsewhere, whether it be the Blue Jays or whoever else needs a infielder / DH, a good contact hitter. But I definitely do not want it to be here.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a business, and that signing 4 years would hurt in other aspects of where they're trying to spend money. It could end up keeping Cody Hosey back longer than need be. 4 years is a lot for a 36-year-old. It doesn't happen much. There's been articles coming out with writers saying when was the last time, and it does happen, but it's just not very common in the sport. So with that said, the Dodgers do have to look into potential replacements in case a deal does not work out with Turner. They are still showing interest in free agent DJ LeMahieu, but they are also looking at possible trade candidates in Kris Bryant and Eugenio Suarez. So LeMahieu, all of these guys are younger. You've got LeMahieu at 32, Kris Bryant turned 29 yesterday, and Suarez is 29 as well. I think everyone is kind of in the boat of wanting LeMahieu because he's been fantastic. Only thing is you have to realize he probably comes with a 4 or 5 year contract at something maybe around 20 million or so, whatever he's asking for because of his numbers. And that for sure would put them over the luxury tax unless they shed salary elsewhere, which is possible, but I don't really know if that's going to happen because the big contracts are guys like Kershaw, Jansen. I just don't see them. They're not going to, definitely not going to trade Kershaw, and I don't think anybody's going to want Jansen's contract. So have to keep that in mind. Like I said, Bryant turned 29 on Monday, 1 year left on his contract, and he's expected to earn around 20 million in arbitration. I like the Bryant idea because, like I mentioned with Hosey, his ETA at third base is about 2022, maybe closer to 2023, since there was no season this year or in 2020. So I kind of like that idea. Suarez, 29, the age isn't the issue. However, he has 4 more years on his contract, and it's a team-friendly contract though. He's only slated to make 10.5 million in 2021, and then 11.2 over the next 3 years with a 15 million club option. So big right-handed bat, power bat there. I just don't know if I care enough about having him for 4 years. So what do you think? I know you like LeMahieu and Bryant. The Suarez thing's a little bit newer. So
just wanted to go over everything real fast. So like as far as free agents go, I think DJ's on the top of my list. And apparently he's on the top of the Dodgers list. If what Jorge Castillo said was true, I wanted him 2 years ago, but they opted for Pollock. I mean, Pollock's been good. He's hit well the 2 years he's been here, so I'm not going to give him any shit for it. But LeMahieu makes a ton of sense because again he provides a positional versatility, and he's got elite contact rate / hard hit rate and exit velocity. So that's something that the Dodgers could really use in their lineup. I've talked about Kris Bryant enough, and I actually have an article on him on Dodger Yards, so go check that out if you haven't. I was actually a little surprised to see Suarez's name, but I guess it makes some sense just because we haven't heard of it before, and Freeman likes to make these like random moves that we haven't heard of. So he definitely struggled last year, but a lot of other players did. It was a weird year, but the previous 3 years, he was legit really good at hitting. The 3 years he hit for a combined 271 average. He hit a combined 109 home runs. He hit 49 alone in 2019, and he OPS'd at 883. So he's a legit threat offensively, especially with the power. As far as him hitting lefties, because that's what the Dodgers need, he's a career 275 hitter and OPS of 892. So just like for context purposes, a great OPS is over 900, and a very good OPS is between 833 to 899. So he's in that very good category on his way to great. So that's a good thing because that's something we really need. Unfortunately, his main issue is much like Bryant's. He strikes out way too much. And Bryant has like an elite walk rate as well, but Suarez is pretty average as far as walk rate goes. But when he puts the ball in play, he hits it pretty hard, and he hits as well as Bryant does when he hits the ball. So, but again, making contact seems to be a bit of an issue, which is why I kind of like LeMahieu just because, again, he's elite at making contact. He might not have the power that Suarez or Bryant does, but he's not going to strike out a ton, and he puts the ball in play. And sometimes you just need for someone to put the ball in play to either move the runner over or drive in the runner, or whatever the case may be. So I think that's why LeMahieu's my favorite on the list. But if they don't get LeMahieu, then I probably would go with Bryant. But Suarez, like you said, he's only 29 as well, and he's under a team-friendly contract. So I think that's something that I could see the Dodgers doing. Now, it does kind of block Hosey unless he moves to left field or first. Suarez isn't really good defensively, so Hosey can still play third. I've been hearing rumors of recent years of Suarez moving to left, or if there's a DH, he could be DH as well. So I don't think it takes them completely out of Suarez, but it's an interesting fit if you ask me.
Yeah, it is for sure. The strikeout numbers is the thing that stood out to me the most. But I do think LeMahieu sits at the top of my list for the contact reasons. I am very fascinated by Kris Bryant. I know a lot of people don't like that. I've always been a belief that baseball fans, myself included, but we are very much what have you done for me lately? And Kris Bryant did nothing for anybody really in 2020. But yet, if you look back at his years prior to that, he was still very good. So I don't want to ignore that, especially not off a weird 2020 season. With LeMahieu, though, because you mentioned him being such a good contact hitter, I wonder if the Dodgers get him, does he just take over for Turner at the third spot? Because Mookie kills it at first, hitting leadoff. And then we know him and Seager as a 1-2 punch has been, I mean, phenomenal. So I don't think you break that up. So does LeMahieu just replace Turner in the lineup, and then you just have 3 fantastic like contact guys who can absolutely hit for power?
I think that would be the move, but also so I'm not saying this is going to happen, but even if they get LeMahieu, I wouldn't completely take the Dodgers out of Turner. I think they can still bring him back for maybe a year or two and just have the lineup be Betts, Seager, LeMahieu, Bellinger, Turner, Muncy, and then fill out the rest of the way. So I don't think it's out of the question. Now the question is, what do you do with Lux? Do you just trade him, which is an option, or what? So that's like the main question. But as far as LeMahieu goes, I think you just slide him into that third spot. I think he'll fit well there.
Yeah, and that's insane to me that someone like LeMahieu's caliber is like, oh, I think we'll put him at the 3 spot, because it's like you have Mookie Betts and Corey Seager at 1 and 2, and it's like maybe
and if Betts
LeMahieu
sees
works
a day
there.
off, LeMahieu can lead off.
Yeah, so I like the LeMahieu thing. I like that he plays multiple positions. It does make you wonder what goes on with Lux. However, you can also go LeMahieu at second. If it ever gets to the point that Seager moves to third, you could put Lux at shortstop, if he can figure out his arm and throwing and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I like the LeMahieu idea. The more I hear about it, the more interesting I feel like it gets. So we'll have to see what happens there. I don't know when any of these guys are actually going to be signing. It feels like we're just doing a bunch of waiting like usual, but hey, they're gonna have to figure it out soon, because it's almost February. We're almost to that new season.
Yes, it's time for players to start signing. And
Yeah.
Dodgers, if you can get me LeMahieu and Liam Hendriks,
that would be, yeah. I think that would be the end. It wouldn't even.
Hey, look,
I wouldn't even be talking about the Padre trades anymore. We have so much
Jansen
to talk
coming
about.
off the books next year. I mean, Kershaw's coming off the books. You probably have to pay him again, but Kershaw coming off the books. Pollock might have like a year left. Kelly coming off the books. So I mean, guys, there's still some money out there.
It could be done. Not that I really think there's much money to talk about here. Not that this is really any Dodger news. Just found it a little interesting, and I saw Dodger fans talking about it. But yesterday, Chris Archer posted a video of himself throwing off of a mound, and he was inside of a facility. But on the walls of the facilities were some Los Angeles Dodgers stickers. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. He could just be using a facility. It is interesting to think about, though. He is a free agent. You also have to think about the Friedman and Archer connection from Tampa Bay. So it's something that I don't know. I've always liked Chris Archer. I've always thought maybe if he got under the right team again, he would be able to find his old stuff, because he was really good there for it was a short amount of time. But I feel like with pitchers, if they had it usually once, it's still there. You just kind of have to figure out how to unlock it. So I know you had some ideas with Archer. Yeah. Did you want to share? Okay.
So I want to start this by saying that I am also a fan of Chris Archer. Like a few years ago, he would help call baseball games, and I think he was just like a natural at it. He was like engaging, knowledgeable. He was funny, and even then, like there were fans saying that he has a future in broadcasting, and I absolutely do think he has a future in broadcasting. That's what he chooses to do. But it was interesting to see him in a Dodgers facility. The Dodgers don't have a need for a rotation player, but if he's willing to sign a minor league deal with an invite to spring training, then I wouldn't hate that. I see no issue with that at all. He used to be really good in Tampa Bay. He got traded to the Pirates, and it kind of just went completely downhill from there. And like I was confused as to why, so I did some digging to find out like why he was struggling. And it seems like when he got to Tampa Bay, they completely changed his pitch mix. It used to be four-seam slider, circle change. And
Wait,
then
Tampa or Pittsburgh?
When he was with Tampa Bay, when he was good, his pitch mix was four-seam slider and circle changeup. And then when he got to Pittsburgh, he started throwing a sinker, and it was a sinker, four-seam, and slider. And then he started throwing his slider more. And these are major league hitters. They will adjust to it. So the more you throw it, the more they see it. So his slider started getting hit a lot too. So, but another interesting thing is in 2019, before he was shut down in September, the last 2 months of 2019, he kind of went back to his old pitch mix where it was four-seam fastball, slider, circle changeup. And his ERA was in the mid-3s those 2 months. So I think maybe he was starting to figure it out. He might have just had a good 2 months, or he might have kind of figured out what went wrong and he was starting to get it back. He is 32 years old, so he's a little old. But one interesting thing I do want to know is if he'd be willing to move to the bullpen, become a reliever, just because I think his stuff plays up really well as a bullpen piece. As a starter, his fastball is between 92 to 94, and I think in shorter bursts as a reliever, his fastball could probably get to about 97. His slider is his best pitch. He gets tons of swings and misses on it. And also, as a starter, he's averaging like 11 strikeouts per 9 innings the last few years. So striking out batters is clearly not an issue. It's walking batters that's an issue. So if the Dodgers, I'm sure, can fix his windup to find a way to make his release be better and more consistent. And with consistency, there should be a good chance that he finds better command and stops walking so many batters. So if he's in the bullpen, I think the fastball plays up, the slider plays up, the circle change plays up, and he only has to focus on those few pitches instead of, as a starter, focusing on 4 or 5. So I'm interested to see if he would be open to that, because I think he could do very well there.
Archer, to me, is one of those guys that I feel like the Dodgers could take advantage of what happened with the shitty 2020 season. Let Archer bet on himself, sign a 1-year deal. If he can do well with the Dodgers, then great, send him on his way to another team, because there's really not going to be room here for him long term, especially as a 32-year-old. So yeah, I'd be interested in it.
He is coming off of an injury. He had surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome, which is basically blood vessels from your collarbone to your first rib compressed, and it causes pain in your shoulders and neck, which creates numbness in your fingers. So he wasn't able to grip the ball at all or feel the ball. So that was the issue for 2020. So he's coming off of that. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out too.
Yeah, so even more so, a 1-year deal could allow him to bet on himself, go out there, have a solid 2021, show teams he's still got it, and not many other teams that you can really bank on that are going to help you do that much better than the Dodgers. So I don't think there will be anything that comes from it. I just thought it was pretty cool seeing him throw with the Dodgers in the background and seeing Dodger fans talk about it. As for our MLB news, the very first thing I want to bring up, because it's fantastic, we always talk about getting more women into baseball, and of course plenty more people of color, and the Red Sox have hired Bianca Smith as a minor league coach, making her the first Black woman to coach in professional baseball. So congratulations to Bianca. That is awesome. Very happy for her. I was going to go into the spring training thing, and then I saw a tweet that mentioned minor leaguers, so I wanted to mention this. Minor league season will not start on time. We know that already. MLB is telling minor league teams that it will not start on time. So that's a little bit of a bummer when we go back to the whole Hosey thing and development that we talked about. So that'll be AA and Class A, which is even worse because that's the younger guys who could really be using it. So that's a bummer there.
AAA starts on time, but nothing else.
It's a whole article, but the article just states start of 2021 minor league season at AA and Class A to be delayed. So that's
where Hosey and Bush were probably going to start. So
yeah,
great for them.
So not ideal. As for the big leagues, an article on The Athletic came out about spring training. Evan Drellich, he explained that unless there are government restrictions that prevent baseball from being played in Arizona and Florida, which isn't going to happen, those two states I don't think care, he doesn't expect there to be any major alterations made to spring training in advance. So basically, as far as anyone knows right now, spring training is expected to be played on time. He also mentioned that players have already made it clear they will not approve a delay to the 2021 season if it means a major drop in pay. Because of the CBA, MLB is not legally allowed to reduce playing time without the players' approval ahead of time. They are already expecting to go into spring training as planned. They're training as if spring training is starting on time. They also have an argument, which you can't really go against them when they say this because they're kind of right, but they're watching all these other sports leagues do it and be able to successfully do it now as normal. Well, I don't want to say normal people, but even athletes aren't getting the vaccine yet. So if all these other sports are able to play without having the vaccine, baseball players are going to argue and say, well, why do we have to wait for the vaccine? Why can't we just get the vaccine as the season is going on? So I'm not even going to pretend that things are like, hey, there's spring training. I still feel like everything is up in the air just based on this alone. MLB is awful at figuring things out. It doesn't sound like they have any plan set up. And as long as the government tells them you're fine to play, sounds like they plan on playing on time. So if that is the case, players will be showing up to spring training in the next month or so, and we will have plenty to talk about, which is exciting.
I think it's important for them to have a plan because sports players or players in general, they're creatures of habit. So messing with the routine and messing with how they get to a flow of things, it affects their ability to perform. So like if there's any question about pushing it back, I know you said that they can't do that without MLB agreeing to, or without the players agreeing to it. So if they're not agreeing to that and spring training needs to go on as is, then I think it's good so players can start getting into the routine, start getting ready for spring training, and hopefully it won't get pushed back because I mean we saw how it affected them this year. A lot of players got hurt, a lot of players struggled. So I think them having a plan of going into spring training and being able to do their normal routine, I think we'll see a lot better play from players, maybe less injuries. So hopefully this should be good for the game.
Yeah, especially after 2020 and the mess that was. If I'm a player, all I'm thinking about is, God, just tell me ahead of time when I have to be there so I can start training, because it was such a mess in 2020 that I'm sure none of them want to deal with that again, and they just want to be told when they can be at the spring training facilities and get started and get to their training, because whether or not the season's pushed back or starts on time, it's still going to be a weird season. There's still going to be protocols that are in place to make sure everyone stays healthy. There's still not going to be fans there on opening day. I would think in most states, maybe not all of them, but I would imagine in most states there will not be fans there. So it's really just a waiting game, and it sucks that MLB.
I look at what football stadiums are allowing fans and then thinking, okay, those fans in the same MLB will probably be the same. So like, actually, I don't think I've seen any in Arizona, which is surprising, but like Kansas City doesn't. Oh, so the Royals might have some fans in the stands. The Cardinals might have some fans in the stands.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully MLB just takes care of the players and the employees and the family members and keeps everyone safe, because that's really all we can ask for at a time like this. But that was all I had for this week. Did you have anything, or were you good?
Oh yeah. I want everybody to go on Dodger Yard and check it out, because I'm going to start dropping some articles soon. I have one about Chris Archer. I have one about Eugenio Suarez. I have a lot of articles coming out soon, so check out Dodger Yard for that.
That was all we had for this week, and we hope you, well, actually, I should probably say this first. Give us a follow on social media at Dodger Yard, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, basically everywhere. Make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast. You can find my personal at Randy_Radcliffe on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find my personal at Michael Konu, MYKALKONU.
And we appreciate everyone's support. Thank you guys for listening. We're getting closer to this season. We're excited. We hope you guys are. If you have anything you want us to talk about, make sure you let us know. If not, we have, either way, we hope you have a good rest of your...
Hopefully next week we have some actual Dodger news for you. Maybe they sign somebody.
Yeah, that would be exciting. But until then, we hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, afternoon, weekend, whatever it is you're listening to this, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.